Hello, consumer buying behavior. And to get things started, I want to show you this pyramid here, or kind of a sideways pyramid. And that's because this is a real pyramid in that the things on the far left tend to be bigger influences on ourselves than the ones on the right. Our culture and our social class and our subculture really shapes who we are and why we buy the things we like, the people we associate ourselves with. And so these are very, very dominant factors on our behaviors. As you see, as you go down, you look at things like your occupation, your lifestyle, your beliefs and attitudes, which you've learned growing up. All these things play a role in why you do what you do, and why you're drawn to certain products and services, and why you may not be also attracted to others. And as marketers, we know this. Kit Kat Dark might be very different than Kit Kat Green Tea. And a lot of that could just be from your culture. Green tea is not in all cuisine, right? Some cultures use green tea in their cuisine and others don't. So culture is a set of basic values, perceptions, wants, and behaviors learned by a member of society from family and other important institutions. So other important institutions could be like schools, right? Depending on what school system you were in, whether you're in public school or private school, and what country you went to school in, that plays a lot of role on who you are and what you believe in. So culture is very, very strong. Lifestyle is also a fairly strong one. You can see here in this advertisement, they're trying to cater towards the busy woman who could still cook, still dress well, have a beautiful apartment with a beautiful view. You're well off. It shows some sort of status. So lifestyles are often very strong as well. Now, there's many different influences that we saw earlier, which are one thing that affects the purchasing decision. But there's also a buyer decision process that we all go through. If we're buying a Snickers candy bar, we might go much quicker through these 5 steps than, for example, if we were buying a laptop or an iPhone or something like that. But let's just briefly go through these 5 steps. So the first step is need recognition. You realize you need something. So that could be internally, like you get hungry and you're like, I need to eat something, or I'm thirsty, I need a drink. But it might be external as well. It might be you see a billboard and you want to go buy that thing. Or it might be a thing of you're on your computer and you run out of hard drive space. You're like, oh, I need to go buy a new hard drive. Or your car breaks down and then it's like, I need to shop for a new car, or I need to go shop for a mechanic. So that's the idea with need recognition. First, you realize you need a need. And that could be you literally need it, you have to have it. Or through advertising, sometimes we make a need, right? Through a makeup advertisement, we show you this beautiful new tone of makeup, and you decide, I need that. I want to get something like that. So it could happen from a want or a need. Second thing is we look for information. We're not just going to go and buy the first one we see unless it's a Snickers bar. If we're shopping around for a new laptop or a phone or a new car, we want to make sure that we get a lot of information and we make the right decision. So some ways we look for information is personal sources. Remember, your culture is big, so we ask our parents, we ask our friends and our family, what cars do you like? Or what smartphone are you using? What laptop are you using? We ask others. Commercial sources, public sources, and experiential sources. So experiential sources would be like going to the mattress store and actually sitting on the mattresses, or actually borrowing your friend's phone to see if you like it or not. So it's an experience for you. Public sources could be like forums, the internet, Facebook, something like that. And then commercial sources could be Hyundai website or the Kia website, and going directly to the commercial sources of information, or going to the apple.com website. So we look for information. When we gather up all that information, we're then going to probably slim down our choices to maybe 2 or 3. So we might say, oh, we're interested in a Kia, a Nissan, or a Hyundai, right? We're not going to have Ford, GM. We're not going to have like 8 choices, hopefully. We're going to, slim it down. So then we have an alternative evaluation of of these 3 car manufacturers, which one should I pick? And then comes the decision of the 3, you choose one. You can also, at this point, just say, I'm not going to buy any, and now you're done with the purchasing decision. But for the most part, you will choose one of your alternatives that you had previously selected. Finally, that should be the end, right? You've once you make a decision, you buy it, you're done. You pay your cash and you're done, right? Well, not necessarily. As marketers, we also have to think about the post-purchase behavior. So this is the idea that after, for example, a customer buys a car, there's still feelings, right? Did we make the right decision? And oftentimes, the more choices we have, the harder it is to be satisfied, because we're always going to be kind of thinking about, did I make that right decision? And so as marketers, we got to think about not only getting customers and keeping them, but making sure they're satisfied with their choice. So when you buy tickets to Disneyland and you spend $100, part of you might be like, I could have done a lot with that $100. And so it's Disneyland's job to make sure they fulfill the need that you had before and show you that, no, this was a good way to spend your money. Which also, the opposite of that is cognitive dissonance, is a buyer's discomfort caused by post-purchase conflict. So as marketers, we want to minimize this as much as possible. So for example, have you ever gone shopping and then you bought something kind of nice, and in the moment you really wanted it, but when you get home, you realize, like, did I really need that? Was that really necessary? And you kind of have this internal dialogue. You talk to yourself and you say, should I return it? Should I keep it? This is the cognitive dissonance. So as marketers, we have to think about, how do we minimize this as much as possible? How do we reassure the customer? How do we make sure the customer is satisfied? Because we want them to come back. A customer isn't just valued at what they spend on that single visit. A customer should be valued also with future values as well. You want them to come back. It's way more expensive to get a new customer than it is to keep a customer. So we always want to try to keep customers coming. And by looking at this buying process and how people evaluate and decide, the easier we make it for people and the better the experience, the more profits and the more people potentially we will get as a business. So as marketers, we have to look at all 5 steps, and we have to make sure we're doing them all very well and improving them so that we can improve on our own experience and improve on the customer experience. One final topic that's really interesting is Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs. Now here's another pyramid, this time it's vertical. And this is Maslow, who's now passed away, but he had this idea that until we have our basic needs met, we won't seek out higher needs. So in this particular pyramid, the lowest needs are at the bottom. So physiological needs are our most innate must-have needs. So if we're hungry, we have to satisfy our hunger and our thirst and our sleep. Sleep is often included here before we start thinking about safety, social, self-esteem. Safety, after we're fed and we're no longer thirsty, the next thing we're probably worried about or thinking about as humans is safety and protection. Do we have somewhere to sleep tonight? Are we safe where we're sleeping? Am I in a safe situation? Right? We're not going to be thinking about love or recognition or status. Like, didn't Monica write me a really great email over the weekend? You're not going to be thinking about that because you're going to be so preoccupied with your safety needs. So once you get over your physiological needs and then your safety needs, then you might seek out some social needs, some sense of belonging, some friends, some love. After you've satisfied those needs, you'll then maybe go up to esteem needs, self-esteem, recognition, what's your status? So things like improving yourself, getting a job, things like that. And then the last one is self-actualization needs, which is self-development and realization. Maybe go to yoga or do some workshops, educate yourself. We all want these things, but we're not thinking about self-actualization needs until we've fully satisfied our physiological needs and our safety needs. So there's an interesting idea that no matter how good of a marketer you are, at the end of the day, people still have this hierarchy of needs that they have to go through. So if you're selling a sales training program or a marketing program, and somebody's just really, really hungry and looking for food, they're not gonna buy your training because they have not satisfied their previous needs yet and they're preoccupied. So that's the idea here, that we all have this hierarchy of needs. And it's, again, is a great tool of just understanding your customers and your consumer behavior just a little bit more.